Madali
Wala
lamang
na kaya.
ito.
Ano lang yun?
Oh, yan.
The session is called to order.
Balino.
I request the Honorable Sheikh Ali Sulaiman to lead the invocation. Please rise for the invocation.
Sudah ako.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم وفق لما تحب وترضى. اللهم اهدنا إلى ما فيه خير وصلاح لأمة الإسلام ولبنسمر يا الله. صلى الله تعالى على خير سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه والحمد لله.
Alhamdulillah. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem to be followed by the Bangsamoro hymn.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, dalas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bangaw, ay hinagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang islang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang ay di magdidinig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsingka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya
Secretary General is directed to call the roll.
Honorable members of the Parliament, Abbas Ahmad, Abbas Harun, Abbas Basit, Abu Mujib, Alami Alaisa, Alauddin Musbir, Ali Ibrahim, Ali Lanang Jr., Ali Idi,
Present.
Ambuludto Suharto, Aminuddin Abdul Aziz, Ampatuan Baintan, Anayatin Susana, Antaw Muhammad Kili, Arnado Mirian, Asnawi Dan, Babaw Ali Muntaha,
Present.
Balindong Pangalian, Basman Ana Tarhata, Kandaw Bay Maliha,
Present.
Dilanggalin Hasimi, Dumama Albasa Iliha, Ibrahim Ahud, Ismail Suharto, Istino Matarul, Gayak Abdullah, Gira Edward, Haji Abdullah Khalid, Hasim Abdullah, Hasan Hatimil, Iqbal Muhagir,
Present.
Ismail Rasul, Jajuri Raisa, Jakilan Muslimin, Jikiri Al-Bakil, Kahalan Din Martin, Karon Faisal, Lim Jan Anthony,
Present.
Loong Benjamin, Loong Don Mustafa, Lorena Husi, Makapaar Abdullah,
Present.
Makasalong Marjani, Makatanong Amrusi, Maglangit Tarhata, Malik Hamid, Mantawil Bailing, Mastura Isak, Matalam Jaafar Apollo Mikael, Mawalil Amil Bahar, Mendoza Froilin, Midtimbang Michael, Midtimbang Tawakal, Miswari Abdul Karim, Miswari Nur Rida, Mitmo Grasul Jr., Muñoz Husain, Uranun Suaib, Pakasim Ubaida, Pak Abdul Wahab, Pangandaman Nabila Margarita,
Present.
Parkasio Randolph, Piang Ramon Sinyar, Ramos Diamila, Salindab Said,
Present. Present.
Salik Ali, Sangki Ali, Sima Umar Yasir, Sima Romeo, Sheikh Said, Silungan Aida, Sinulinding Kadel Jr.,
Present.
Sulaiman Ali, Tago Paisalin, Tan Nabil,
Present.
Usman Ajfar, Oto Basir, Oyod Siti Fahani, Yakob Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Speaker, on the basis of the roll call and with 41 members of the Parliament physically responded to the call and 15 responded via Zoom, We therefore have a total of 56 members of the Parliament present in today's session. Mr. Speaker, we certify the presence of quorum.
With the 41 members physically present, responding to the call, and 15 by Zoom, or a total of 56 present. And with the certification of the Secretary General that there is a quorum, the Chair declares the presence of a quorum. Floor Leader.
Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, everyone, but good afternoon to our fellow members in the Parliament, and my courtesies to our beloved Speaker, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, and our Chief Minister, Honorable Ahud Balawag Ibrahim. I also welcome all our guests who are here now in the gallery to witness this historical afternoon for the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, we will now proceed in the item number 6 in the order of business, which is the reading and approval of the journal of the previous session. I move to dispense with the reading of journal number 19 of September 18, 2023.
There's a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal of the previous session. There is an objection.
Second.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the approval of the September 18, 2023 journal number
There's a
19.
motion by the Floor Leader for the approval of the journal of the previous session. There is objection. There being none, the motion is approved. The Chair suspends the session for a few minutes to await the final printed copies of Bill number 38. Session is suspended for a few minutes.
Wala akong matulig sa...
Motion for third reading.
BTA Parliament number 30 titled for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code or for the government of the day.
Yeah, we just approved that yesterday on second reading. Is there a certificate of urgency issued by the Chief Minister?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, in a letter dated September 27, 2023, we have already issued a certificate of urgency through a letter addressed to the Parliament Speaker from the Chief Minister. We would like to confirm from the Secretary General if they have received such a letter, Mr. Speaker.
Secretary General, do you confirm?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we confirm that on September 28, 2023 at 10:11 a.m. the office received the communication addressed to Honorable Pangalian Balindong, the Speaker, coming from the Chief Minister Ahod B. Balawang. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Presiding.
Yes, we recognize the gentleman from Sulu, Deputy Speaker Nabil Tan.
Thank you, Presiding. Is it possible to flash that on screen, the certification of the Chief Minister, if it is possible?
Secretariat, is it possible to flash on the screen the copy of the certificate of urgency?
If not, Mr. Speaker, I'll take the word of the SecGen and the Deputy Floor Leader. We can proceed.
So the Deputy Speaker Nabil Tan has allowed us to proceed. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And before we proceed, may we also formally welcome and acknowledge the presence of our Chief Minister to our session this afternoon.
we acknowledge the presence of the Chief Minister of the Bangsamoro government.
So with the existence of the certificate of urgency, Mr. Speaker, I move to approve BTA Parliament Bill number 30, an act providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code on third and final reading by nominal voting. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
There is a motion on the floor to proceed with the approval on third and final reading of BTA Bill number 30, an act providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. It's been seconded. I'm hearing no objection. We will proceed with the vote. Secretary General, proceed with the roll call vote.
Shakan.
Nominal voting on BTA Parliament Bill number 30 on third and final
Recording
reading.
in progress.
Honorable members of the Parliament, Abbas Ahmad, Abbas Harun, Abbas Basit, Abu Mujib, Alami Alaisa, Alauddin Musbir, Ali Ibrahim, Ali Lanang Jr.,
Mr. Speaker, may I have my 1 minute?
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, the honorable gentleman, may I also take this opportunity to remind all the MPs to strictly observe the 1 minute rule for so that we will be able to accommodate all the MPs who desire to speak. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Duly noted. The gentleman from Sultan Kudarat is recognized.
Honorable Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim, Honorable Speaker of the Parliament, Attorney Ali Pangalian Balindong,
Honorable members of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority Parliament, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Speaker, September 13, 1995, ito yung panahon na naipasa ang MMA Act number 25 o yung Local Government Code of the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. September 13, 1995. Ngayon po, Mr. Speaker, September 28, 2023, ipapasa po natin ang Bangsamoro Local Government Code. Ito ay isang makasaysayang araw, Mr. Speaker. Sa araw na ito, ang araw na ito ang magpuputol sa 20 years na pag-implement ng MMA Act number 25, yung Local Government Code of Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Kaya ngayon po, Mr. Speaker, tayo po ay dapat na magkaya sa araw na ito. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Ali Edi.
My vote is yes. May I be allowed to explain my vote?
You have 1 minute. Secretariat, please remove the one on the screen.
Bismillah. Walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Our esteemed Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim Al-Haj, Honorable Speaker, distinguished fellow members of the Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Mr. Speaker, today we stand at a critical juncture in the history of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. We are tasked with a momentous decision, one that has the potential to shape the future and trajectory of our governance. The Bangsamoro Local Governance Code, with its groundbreaking anti-political dynasty provision, is a testament to our commitment to progress, equity, and genuine leadership and representation. With hearts filled with gratitude and humility, we seek Allah's guidance that we vote upon this legislation with the spirit of justice and equity anchored in the timeless values of all faith. This provision embedded within the code is not merely a clause. It is a beacon of hope for a more inclusive and fair local landscape. It signifies our collective dedication to dismantling the barriers that have hindered the growth of our region for far too long. It is a promise to the people of the Bangsamoro that their voices will be heard and their aspirations will be realized through leaders chosen for their merit and devotion to the path of moral governance. In Islam, we find the blueprint for just governance, where power is a trust given by Allah to be exercised.
Mr. Speaker, hindi po namin naririnig.
Please, nakikita natin karton ng bibig. Brother Iqbal,
natin to something
Mr.
about
Speaker, nakamute yung kuwan. MP Ali.
ang nakamute ata. Narinig siya eh. Nasa Buanga siya eh. Baka
Hindi
hindi
narinig yung boses niya.
Assalamualaikum, Minister IQ Chair, my brother.
Waalaikumsalam. I cannot hear.
MP Eddie, can you please unmute your mic?
Wala kami narinig sa
MP Eddie Ali, please unmute your microphone.
Hindi yata marunong.
MP Eddie, can you please unmute?
Hindi natin narinig ang privilege speech.
Oo nga. Ano po?
Please
Wala
unmute.
narinig sa'yo. Nakamute ka kanina.
Ay, sorry po, hindi ko po nakita. Mr. Speaker, can I...
You have your 1 minute already. We will proceed with the, what is your vote?
My vote is yes.
We will proceed. Thank you. Secretary General, proceed with the voting. Gentlemen, may I remind each and everyone that you have 1 minute to explain your vote.
Ikwan ko na lang. Paano ko i-ikwan sa kwan?
Ambulod to Suharto.
Ikwan ko na lang.
Aminuddin Abdul Aziz.
You have the floor. May proceed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To our Chief Minister, Al-Awwal Ibrahim Al-Hajj, and Speaker Attorney Pangalian Balindong, our colleagues here. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. At isang mapayapa at produktibong hapon po sa ating lahat. Before I give my vote, I would like to commend the hard work of the members of the Committee on Local Government for your time, efforts, and dedication to complete the 600 plus pages of our very own BLGC. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Naawain maging tulay po ang batas na ito para sa minimiti nating kapayapaan. May BLGC strengthen its power local government units and region. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
What is your vote? What is your vote?
My vote is yes.
Yes, siram ba sa tao kiram?
Wan ko mo pa boleh.
Ampatuhan ba Intan?
Pero ko ba siya kan ba siya?
Atin Susana.
Mr. Speaker, may use my 1 minute po time. Isang mapagpalang araw po sa ating lahat. Assalamualaikum. Pagpupugay po sa ating Chief Minister, Honorable Ahod Balawag B. Ibrahim, our Parliament Speaker, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, fellow members of the Parliament. Ako po ay taus-pusong bumoboto ng yes sapagkat ang local governance code na ating isa sa batas sa araw na to ay isang makasaysayan at nagbibigay pag-asa sa ating mga pamayanan ng minimiti nating pagbabago. Maraming salamat po.
Antaw Muhammad Pili.
Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa bihi nasta'in wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ang aking paggalang sa ating mga Chief Minister, Honorable Ahod Al-Hajj Murad Ibrahim, sa ating pong Speaker, Lord Leader, my fellow colleague in this prestigious chamber, again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Isang araw na sabi natin na ating ipagdiriwang. Ang kauna-unang pagkakataon na ito ay may sa batas ang local governance code na ito na siya ang mag-translate. Siya ang magdala sa boses ng moral governance na kung saan ayon po ang advokasya ng ating government of the day. Mr. Speaker, ang aking pong boto ay yes para sa kapayapaan, para sa katuparan ng aspiration ng ating mga mujahidat na kung saan ay nagbuwis ng buhay para po makamtan natin ang pagkakataon na ito na magkaroon tayo ng gobyerno.
Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very big yes.
Arnado Mirian. Asnawi Dan. Babaw Ali Muntaha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
You have your 1 minute. 1 minute.
Yes, thank you for giving me that 1 minute time to make some statement about this. I'm very happy, although I'm a member of the Committee on Local Government. Before I will proceed, I would like to give my due respect to the Speaker, na Pangalian Balindong, the Chief Minister Ibrahim, and of course the Presiding Officer and the Floor Leader, and all the members of this Parliament. I'm very happy to say that we have, after signing into law this bill, we made history, a political history, where Congress and the Senate failed, we succeeded because of the inclusion of the anti-dynasty provision of this code. And that means political monopoly of wealthy people, influential politicians, is already cut off. So, because my belief is that there are thousands of Bangsamoro who possess that intellect to help in the promotion and development of our homeland. They're not given the chance because they have no money to go into the political arena. Now, with the anti-dynasty provision, it's now open to everybody. Those who are poor but has the intellect to be part of our development process. Congratulations, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Presiding Officer, for passing this law, and of course with the Speaker and the Chief Minister. Maraming salamat po.
My vote is
yes, of course.
Balindong Pangalian. Basman Ana Tarata.
Mr. Speaker, at the offing, I would like to apologize in advance. This will not be just 1 minute. I hope to beg for your indulgence. My courtesies to our Chief Minister, our boss, who gave the directive to fast track this code, and here we are now. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Indeed, nothing is impossible with Allah. It is my honor to be part of the Parliament that enacts this code and brings something of its kind as an offering not just to our fellow Bangsamoro, not just to all Filipinos, but to the entire world. Once again, we've shown that a government as young as ours can come up with a legislation that not just challenges but defies head-on the status quo. Noong pinagdedebatehan ang BBL at kahit noong BOL sa Kongreso, maraming nagduda. Kaya ba nila? Napakaraming kapangyarihan na pinapasa na natin sa kanila. Alam ba nila ang gagawin nila? Are we setting themselves up for failure? By giving them more, are we allowing them to self-destruct? Muli na naman nating ipinapakita sa magiging batas na ito na kapag hinayaan nila tayo sa ating sariling pagpapasya, pag hinayaan nila tayo magdesisyon para sa ating mga sarili, ito ang resulta. Isang batas na sumasalamin sa realidad ng ating mga komunidad at tumutugon sa mga hamon nito. Ipinapakita natin sa magiging batas na ito na hindi tayo natatakot na baliktarin ang nakasanayan. Anti-dynasty provisions, multi-sectoral representation sa lahat ng sangay ng lokal na pamahalaan na may puwang di lamang para sa ating mga Moro, kundi para sa mga ibang katutubo, pati na ang mga tinaguriang settler communities. Mas matibay na mga probisyon para sa kababaihan at kabataan, klarong hatian ng responsibilidad at kapangyarihan sa pagitan ng BARM at ng mga LGUs nito. What is taking the national government decades to do, we've done in a few years, if not months. And this would not have been possible without the untiring dedication and commitment of the people behind this work. All our colleagues, our fellow MPs who labored with us in going over the provisions of the law, all who attended the consultations and said their piece, the Secretariat, and most especially, personally, our team of lawyers, Roseanne, Al, Nayo, Rao, Hannah, Naj, Aying, Miko, who proved themselves up to the gargantuan task of combing through the nitty-gritty of this legislation, all contributed to the yet again another completion of the BTA's deliverable. We have done our part. The Bangsamoro through this measure is saying enough is enough. We've stated what we want for our region. Now we know this will not go unquestioned. This is another hallmark legislation that others will find should be brought to proper channels. My challenge to them and the others who will have the final say on this law, will you be a helping hand in the Bangsamoro's quest for change, or will you be a stumbling block? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My vote is yes.
Kandaw Bay Maliha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Gusto ko pong may pagmalaki at isigaw sa buong mundo bagamat hindi ako naging miyembro ng committee na ito. Ang taus-puso ko pong pagbati sa lahat ng mga MPs na naging bahagi ng napakagandang batas na ito para sa mga Bangsamoro. Sinasaludo ko po kayong lahat, sinasaludo ko po ang BARM, sinasaludo ko po ang buong parlamento at sa lahat ninyong umaasa na magkaroon tayo ng ganitong klaseng paninindigan para sa eleksyon, para na rin po sa Bangsamoro. I vote yes with all my heart. Assalamualaikum.
Dilanggalin Hasimi.
To our dear Chief Minister, Honorable Ahod B. Ibrahim, Speaker Attorney Pangalian Balindong, fellow members of the Parliament, guests and staff, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the approval of BTA Bill number 30 or the proposed Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. The enactment of BTA Bill number 13 to law represents a significant milestone in our journey to building a Bangsamoro that not only thrives but flourishes. Let us welcome this landmark legislation as a tool for positive change and a foundation for a peaceful and progressive Bangsamoro. Kung meron tayong ina ng Electoral Code, meron din tayong ina ng Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Congratulations to our dear Chair, MP Attorney Raisa Jajuri. I vote yes in favor of the approval of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code.
Dumama Albasa Iliha.
Yes.
Ibrahim Ahod. Ismail Suharto.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على ما لا نبي بعد أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Mr. Speaker, I vote yes for the approval of the BTA Bill number 30 entitled An Act Providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. This code embodies the aspiration and hopes of the people in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region for a more transparent, accountable, and inclusive form of governance. In particular, I would like to focus on two essential aspects of this code. First, its emphasis on the inclusivity of youth organization in the provision enumerated in the Sangguniang Kabataan section. This code recognizes the young leaders and provides avenue to engage in local governance and voice their concern, and we are glad that we have contributed on the matter. Second, on the most notable aspect of this code, its commitment to breaking the chain of political dynasty that have far too long hindered the representation of the diverse voice within the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. At the same time, we unite the families that were once divided by this political dynasty. Again, with that, Mr. Speaker, I vote for an emphatic yes for the approval of BTA Bill number 30 entitled An Act Providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Shukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Esteno Matarol.
Honorable Chief Minister Ahod Murad Ibrahim Al-Haj, Honorable Speaker Attorney Pangalian Balindong, my esteemed colleagues, in this parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This representation consider the proposed Bangsamoro Local Governance Code as a cure to the gap that has troubled the intergovernmental link at the different level of bureaucracy. And today is our chance to remedy this gap by fulfilling the promise of self-governance and autonomy for the Bangsamoro in our constituent LGU. By doing so, we lay the groundwork for an inclusive governance structure where everyone has the opportunity to participate. Our parliament has rigorously examined and refined its provision to align with the best interests and aspiration of the Bangsamoro people. We have ensured that it reflects the needs and aspiration of our constituents. I am confidently glad to stand before you today as I have witnessed everyone's perseverance and commitment to passing this priority measure. Let us unite to realize our intention to bridge the gap between the Bangsamoro government and our people through our constituent local government units. With that, Mr. Speaker, wholeheartedly, I vote yes of the passage, favor for the passage of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Gayak Abdullah.
Yes.
Gera Edward.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My respect to our Haji Murad Ibrahim, to our speaker, Attorney Balindong. My vote is yes. My salute to the members of this parliament in general for their dedication and hard work. But special mention, my special salute to our ladies like MP Basman, MP Jajuri, MP Anado, MP Lai. This is women's power. Walang kakalaban dyan. Thank you.
Haji Abdullah Khalid. Hasim Abdullah.
I think MP Haji Abdullah is around. Did you hear the vote?
Nasa aeroplano, on flight, on flight, pabalik sa Cagayan de Oro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My courtesies to the Chief Minister, Hafidhahullah, to Parliament Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would just like to show my gratitude and thanks to the hardworking Committee on Local Government Chair, Attorney Raisa Jajuri, for her untiring patience and dedication. Mr. Speaker, we would also like to show appreciation to the talented and eloquent defense team, their support staff who work sleepless hours, no doubt, including their principals. Mr. Speaker, we are now in the beginnings of the realization of a fully devolved local government unit, inshallah. And we also now have a hope for a more efficient, balanced, and inclusive political landscape, inshallah. All of this in the hopes that the end result is moral governance being felt by the ordinary Bangsamoro citizens, inshallah. So, an end to that, Mr. Speaker, my vote is yes. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Hello?
Yes. Who is that?
Mr. Speaker, kasi may nailing signal dito. Can I cast my vote?
Yeah, you can cast your vote. What is your vote?
Yes, my vote is no. I'll just send my written explanation of my vote.
Yes, we will wait for your written explanation. Secretariat, take note, the vote is no.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Hasan Hatimil.
Can I give 1 minute, Mr. Speaker?
You have your 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My vote, Mr. Speaker, is very loud no. Because of the fact, not necessarily against Bill number 30, the Local Governance Code of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. but my vote is against the Philippine government, which is not able to keep its commitment to preserve all those was given as a result of the peace process would be preserved. Mr. Speaker, our new local government code, Bill number 30, would result to the abolition of several barangays that would not be able to comply with the requirement under Republic Act 7160. This is the reason why my vote, Mr. Speaker, is a very loud no to the Bill number 30. This is not, as I repeat, not necessarily against Bill number 30, but against the failure of the Philippine government to keep its commitment to preserve what has been gained under the peace process, under the peace agreement that was signed by the government of the Republic of the Philippines with the Moro National Liberation Front and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. This is the reason, Mr. Speaker. As I said, I repeat, my vote is no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Iqbal Mohagir.
Can I be allowed to explain my vote?
Yes, you may proceed. You have 1 minute.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, Mr. Speaker, Attorney Pangalian Malindong, the Acting Floor Leader, Attorney Mary Ann Arnado, Chair and members of the Parliament Committee on Local Government, members and my colleagues of this august body, guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The passage or enactment of Bangsamoro Local Governance Code alongside the other 4 priority legislations which passed Parliament one after the other is a historic act of this Parliament. This is another feather in the cap of the BTA Parliament. Its leadership, headed by Speaker Pangalian Malindong and Barm Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim. Seriously speaking, I do not want not to be part of this momentous deliberation in the life of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao and the Bangsamoro people. Despite my being away for more than a month and thousands of miles away from home, I see to it that I will be able to participate in the voting process. Mr. Speaker, before I cast my vote, I want to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to all of you by giving way to my amendment to this bill, especially or specifically on the provision on local school board. Let me assure one and sundry, the deletion of such provision will further ensure, enhance, and promote the observance of the merit system in the selection, appointment, and promotion of non-teaching and non-teaching positions in the Ministry of Basic, Higher, and Technical Education. Mr. Speaker, my vote is a resounding yes. Shukran.
Ismail Rasul. Jajori Raisa. Jakilan Muslimin. Jikiri Al-Bakil. Kahalan Din Martin. Karun Faisal. Lim Jan Anthony.
Mr. Speaker, may I be allowed to explain my vote?
Yes, you have your 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Due courtesies and respect to our Chief Minister who are with us today, as well as to our Speaker, Attorney Pangalian Balindong. Sincere appreciation to the drafters of the bill and the members of the committee for the time and efforts they have exerted. I thank the committee as well for including my proposed amendments to the final draft of the bill for our consideration today. Certainly, we may have different and opposed positions on certain items of the bill. I am most sure that we have one thing in common, a local government code committed to the aspiration of ensuring effective delivery of the basic services to the people. However, there are still substantial provisions in the bill that I find beyond the mandate given to us. And since we are allowed under our rules to vote only yes, no, or abstain, then I will vote no, if only to ensure that we keep within constitutional and legal framework. I vote no on the main reason that I find certain provisions of the disqualifications under sections 40I and J, and now renumbered in the final draft as section 45G and I, contrary to the 1987 Constitution and the set of applicable national laws, including our own organic law, Republic Act 2160. These are the parameters which our autonomy must work with. Any and all provisions of the law passed by us must be constitutional and legal. I respectfully submit that these provisions are not. It is contrary to the Constitution and to the laws, set of national laws. Section 26, Article 2 on the Declaration of Principles and State Policies of the 1987 Constitution provides that the state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and prohibit political dynasties as may be defined by law. It is my humble position that the state referred to in the provision pertains only in matters of legislation to the Congress of the Philippines, which consists of the Senate and the House of Representatives. And the law referred to therein is the law that is passed by the national legislature. The state referred to in that provision does not refer to local legislative bodies of the LGUs, such as our parliament or the respective sanggunians of provinces, cities, municipalities, or barangay. The disqualification provision of the proposed BLGC may also violate constitutional guarantee to equal access to opportunities for public service, as intenders or candidates in the BARM will now be in a different situation as those candidates or intenders in the other regions. Whereas in the other regions, qualifications include generally literacy, citizenship, and residency. With the BLGC, it added qualification or disqualification on the basis of relationship by consanguinity or affinity. Clearly, access to public office in the BARM will become more restrictive compared to those in other regions. Further, Mr. Speaker, Section 17, Article 10 on the local government of the same 1987 Constitution also provides that all powers, functions, responsibilities not granted by this Constitution or by law to the autonomous regions shall be vested in the national government. While the Parliament is mandated to craft a local government code, there is no provision in the organic law or in any other law for that matter that the state, through the Congress, has empowered this august body to formulate qualification or disqualifications for elections other than those provided for members of Parliament as enshrined in our organic law. This was confirmed during the interpellations. There being none, Mr. Speaker, let us await for the Congress to pass such a law providing disqualifications based on relationship by affinity or consanguinity, such as the one they already provided under Sangguniang Kabataan Reform Act. Power to define qualification. These qualifications are generally restrictions to access to public office. It must be expressly granted by the Constitution or by national law. It cannot be implied. It cannot be inferred without violating constitutionally guaranteed right to access to elective office or the right of suffrage, as we will be effectively limiting the choices of people absent constitutional or legal basis. Few more seconds. This representation, both during the interpellation and the submitted proposed amendment, suggested that we stick what is provided under 1991 Local Government Code and input only the provision on qualification or disqualification only as far as the elections for Sangguniang Kabataan. But alas, except for the latter, this representation's position on the other disqualification provisions is not approved, and so we vote this afternoon. Finally, and as I always state, although our appointment
You can you unmute yourself?
Narinig ba ako?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We will now cut you off. You have exceeded your 1 minute. Your
May I be allowed similar minutes as granted to other? This will take few minutes. Just 1 to 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker. Few more.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The power to define qualifications and disqualifications are generally restrictions to access to public office, must be expressly granted by the Constitution or by national law. It cannot be implied, it cannot be inferred without violating constitutionally guaranteed right to access elective public office or the right of suffrage, as we will be effectively delimiting the choices of people absent constitutional or legal basis. Finally, as I always state, although our appointment is not station-specific, I took it upon myself to represent the island province of Tawi-Tawi. My position today is based on my personal conviction as well as the positions of the provincial local government of Tawi-Tawi and the 10 mayors of the island province in a position paper they already submitted. As a final word, Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues, let us not preempt the Congress in defining additional qualifications or disqualifications to elective positions in the provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays in the BARM. We have the elections, the decider of who can best rule. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Proceed with the voting.
Loong Benjamin. Loong Don Mustafa.
Mr. Speaker. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I'd like to have the same privilege given to MP Jet. The approval of the local government code is a significant milestone for the Bangsamoro. 4.5 years ago, we ratified the Bangsamoro law and signaled the shift from the military to a political struggle. Finally, we have a local government code that is tailor-fit for the needs of the Bangsamoro. We had always said that the root cause of conflict and the motivation for the Bangsamoro struggle is to address political and economic marginalization. Today is an exercise of political and economic autonomy. We are in the practice of political autonomy that may not be perfect. But just like the practice of law and medicine, the practice of making policy and law is a continuing process. We improve and become better over time. But in order to improve and be better, like medicine and law, we could practice it or lose it, or lose the competency over it. Either we exercise our political and economic autonomy, or we will lose what has already been given. The practice of political autonomy has the good and the challenges. The good thing with the local government code, the 600 pages that we are presenting now, is that it provides chances for a more responsive and receptive LGU. There's mandatory training and capacity building. There's regulation of LGUs. improvement of coordination, establishment of councils, full devolution, improved benefits to the barangays, more power, authority, and responsibility to the LGU so that they can be self-sufficient, improvement in the financial systems, and transparency and accountability in governance. There's inclusion of the madaris in the local school boards, IPs, and ad hoc bodies to address RIDU and Sharia compliance against riba. These are the positive things that we have to accept. But just like in life, you cannot always be happy. There will always be darkness amidst the light. There will always be rain against the sunshine. And therefore, there may be contentious issues, but these are present in all laws. Contentious issues like the anti-dynasty provision that was provided in the Constitution, but for 33 years, no enabling law was done. It is only here in the Bangsamoro where we provided for maybe points about partisan political activity, which I had also raised issues. However, the debates in a parliamentary process, the majority wins, although the voices of the minority had been heard. So I congratulate the committee who had gone through these 600 pages and the victory of the empowered women lawyers and leaders like MP Raisa Jajuri, MP Ana Basman, MP Laya Alba, and MP Marian Arnado. Sa dami ng sinabi at pinopose ko na sinabi nilang hindi pwede, laging busted, but then may mga pumasok din naman. The point is, we recognize that these ladies have shown that the Bangsamoro women have their competencies. And in truth, some sectors might question the legislation by the Bangsamoro, but of course, like students of political autonomy, we might be corrected, but all students need to pass through a process of correction to become better. Finally, in conclusion, the greatest positive change that we have done here is not just the local government code that we passed in a few months. It's not just we are to be placed in the Guinness Book of World Records for passing 8 laws in one day, but it is the practice of autonomy, political and economic autonomy that our forefathers, you, your father, your parents, our relatives have fought for, because we believe that self-determination, political and economic autonomy is the real key for long-term peace and development in the Bangsamoro. My vote is a positive yes.
Lorena, si? Makapaar Abdullah?
Mr. Speaker,
Pwede ho,
magsalita?
pwede ho magsalita, Commander.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Brother and sister, member of the Parliament, the Chief Minister Al-Awwal Ibrahim, and the Speaker, the Parliament, Atty. Pamlian Balindong. Ako po'y magsasalita sa salita ng Maranao. Kayo na po ang bahalang mag-interpret. Kaya po nga ninakanrakano, nayamala nag-Chief Minister, nagyang kay local government code. Apang nasi ko kapag approval, na mapansin tano. Sana po'y mapapansin natin ang mga mujahidin, mga mujahidat, ang kanilang dugo. Bakit nandito ang ban government? Bang ninakan amasya, pagyang kay ban government sa mga Muslim, naman na Mindanao, akararagnan. Bang ninakan ng isa Chief Minister, Mr. Speaker, outside uban, namiyawid akal ang gobyerno at ban government. Ito Allah ta'ala sa Quran, inamal mu'minuna ikhwatun fa aslihu bayna akhawaykum wa taqullaha lalakum turhamun. Subo sa mga Muslim yang maratyan ay magariari na siya pa niyo sa pagari niyo nakalak niyo sa Allah ka ang kanumi pangalimo. Inshallah nayabutuakan sabab sa kapangunutan sa Chief Minister na yus. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Makasalong Marjani?
I-translate ko yun. Ay. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa bihi nasta'in wa alayhi natawakkal. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Our respect to our Chief Minister Al-Awwal Ibrahim, to the Speaker of this Parliament, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, and to the members of this august body. One of the ultimate goals of governance is to ensure the well-being and prosperity of all people in a just and fair manner. As a member of this esteemed legislative body, I firmly believe that this piece of legislation will bring about significant progress and prosperity to the Bangsamoro region and to the Bangsamoro people. Congratulations to everyone in making this historic legislation possible. Para sa mga kabataang Bangsamoro, my vote is a fairly yes. Pagpalaing Bangsamoro.
Makatanong ang Rosie.
One minute. Session resumes. The gentleman from Lanao, MP Makatanong is recognized.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Speaker, my vote is a resounding yes. My vote is dedicated to the nameless, the unaccounted, and unrecognized Bangsamoro martyrs who never hesitated to sacrifice everything, including their precious lives, just for our jihad to succeed. We all know that because of their hard work and sacrifices, we are now enjoying this balm. I would also like to dedicate my yes vote to our late father, Muhammad Zainuddin Batu, the reason why I am here. Wherever you are, Baba, this one's for you. Your dream for us to establish a bar where everybody, Muslims, Christians, Lumads, IPs, can live together peacefully and equally enjoy blessings and opportunities that might be available is now becoming a reality. I pray to Allah to guide us to make it more stronger. Again, Mr. Speaker, my vote is yes. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone.
Maglangit tarata.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. My courtesies to all my colleagues in this August body. Mr. Speaker, I vote yes to the BARM Local Governance Code. Yes, because this bill reflects our aspiration for a region where our local government units are able to deliver services to their constituents, finally. Yes, because this bill provides a space for marginalized sectors in our society to participate in decision-making. Women, urban poor, farmers, indigenous peoples have the opportunity to become regular members of our sanggunian. And it is through this law that the Bangsamoro government seeks to strengthen its policies to protect women from violence and ensure that they are included in decision-making in the different levels of government. Yes, because I am pleased to see that my proposals to institutionalize protective services at the barangay level, such as VAUSI, Desk, Barangay Council for the Protection of Children, Human Rights Desk, have finally found their way into the final version of the bill, as well as the stronger provisions on the compliance of LGUs on gender and development plans. Maraming salamat po. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. My vote is yes.
Malik Hamid. Mantawil Bailing.
My esteemed salutation and high respect to His Excellency Honorable Ahod Balawag Ibrahim. Mr. Speaker, we live in a world that is often divided by differences, whether they may be cultural, religious, or political. We can agree to disagree, yes, but today I want to challenge you to rise above those divisions and embrace the idea that together we can achieve greatness. The Bangsamoro Local Governance Code presents us with a great opportunity to exercise governance suitable to our history and culture, identity, faith, and as people. This code, Mr. Speaker, we find the embodiment of hope, resilience, and determination. It is a symbol of the Bangsamoro's collective commitment to peace, progress, and inclusivity. It is a testament to the fact that from the jungles to marshlands, through the rivers and oceans, regardless of our backgrounds, we can accomplish remarkable things that nobody expects us to do so. Mr. Speaker, I understand that change can be daunting. It can be uncomfortable. It can challenge us to step outside of our comfort zones. But my fellow member of the Parliament, I urge you to embrace this change with open arms, for it is through change that we grow, that we evolve, and that we discover the depths of our own potential. The passing of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code signifies a new era, an era where the voices of the marginalized are finally heard, where the wounds of the past can heal, and where brighter, more inclusive future awaits us all. But this future is not something that will simply be handed to us, but is something that we must actively work forward. To the members of the Local Government Committee, headed by the Chair, Attorney Raisa Jajuri, thank you very much for your patience, perseverance, and compassion. The passing of the code is not just about legislation. It is about the power of the Bangsamoro spirit. It is about change and the endless possibilities. Sabi nga nila, let us be the change that we wish to see in the world. Together, we can achieve greatness and create a future for the Bangsamoro that is brighter, more inclusive, and more harmonious than ever before. My vote is yes for the passage of gender-sensitive, environmental-friendly, healthy, fair, and inclusive Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Thank you.
Mastura Ishak. Matalam Jaapar Apollo Mikhail.
Mr. Speaker, my vote is a jumbo yes.
Mawalil Amit Bah. Mendoza Froilin. Midtimbang Michael.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa bihi nasta'in wa ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. For our beloved Chief Minister, Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, Honorable Speaker, Ali Pangalian Balindong, Deputy Speaker, Floor Leader, and fellow members of the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I am expressing my full and strong support for the approval of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code in the third reading, being one of our priority legislation. Mr. Speaker, it is important to remark that we are appointees which have a clear directive from our beloved President, His Excellency Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, and from our beloved Chief Minister, Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, that we must finish the remaining priority legislation that our Bangsamoro government needs to function properly. The BAM Local Government Code is indeed necessary, which serves as a comprehensive framework and guidelines, defines the systems and decentralization process whereby the local government units are delegated the powers, authority, and resources. It is also designed to strengthen and enhance the local government units, assuring the economic growth and development of self-reliant and dynamic communities throughout the BARM. Mr. Speaker, as regard with the inclusion of the political dynasty in the BARM Local Governance Code, the first to be affected is our family and other families in the BARM. However, let me read to the Surah An-Nisa, verse 59, in which Allah says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, O believers, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority among you. Should you disagree on anything, then refer it to Allah and his messenger. And also emphasizes in the hadith as narrated by Abu Huraira, in which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "It is obligatory upon you to listen and obey. The order should be ruler in prosperity and adversity, whether you are willing or unwilling, or when someone is given undue preference to you." Mr. Speaker, because of the importance of the revelation of such surah, I have mentioned my stand here is, if it is the will of our leader, Chief Minister Al-Awwal Ibrahim, I vote big fat yes to its approval and based on the consensus of the body and is intended for the general welfare of the entire Bangsamoro. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, and my conclusion, magmakalan na tayo, nugagalimatan no ron. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Mitimbang tawakal. Miswari Abdul Karim. Miswari Nurrida. Mitmo Grasol Jr. Muñoz Hussain, Uranon Suaib, Pakasim Ubaida, Pak Abdul Wahab, Pangandaman Nabila Margarita.
Mr. Speaker, can I have my 1 minute?
You have your 1 minute.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My courtesies to our Chief Minister Ahud Ibrahim, to our Speaker Pangalian Palindong, and my fellow members of the BTA Parliament and staff. Before I cast my vote, I would like to commend the Committee on Local Government as well as the Secretariat and various staff for all their hard work for the past few months in ensuring that this Parliament crafts a local government code that upholds the provisions of the BOL, while addressing the needs and aspirations of the BARM LGUs. Considering this, I think it is also just as important that we seek to enact a code that does not impede the will of the electorate or one that might inadvertently undermine our constitution. As suggested by the anti-dynasty provision stated on Section 40 and 43 regarding the disqualifications on local elective positions and the mandatory training and capacity development. And so I know this is a very important, there's an urgent need to pass this code. So after weeks of extensive deliberations and much consideration, my vote is yes, but with strong reservations. I would like to put on record, Mr. Speaker, that I'm against the anti-dynasty provision. Thank you.
Arcasio Randor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My courtesies to the Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, our Honorable Speaker, Speaker Pangalian Balindong, our Presiding Officer, Attorney Omar Sema, my colleagues, mga minamahal ko, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Speaker, the history of Bangsamoro self-governance started with the Revolution for Independence. Then it evolved into negotiations for Bangsamoro autonomous government spanning from 1976 to 2016 into peace tracts. The MNLF OIC GRP peace tract and the MILF GPH peace tract. For that reason, the central discussion is to devolve powers from national government to regional government. And then, of course, from regional government to local government units. However, on September 22, 1995, the ARMM passed MMA Act 25, which provided that devolution will not be fully granted to local government units. It was an error and a mistake and contravened the spirit of empowering the Bangsamoro people to govern themselves. That is why citizens within the autonomous region are not properly served with basic services by LGUs because certain basic powers and functions, particularly on health, social welfare services, agriculture, and others, were and are retained by the autonomous government. In the transition, unfortunately, up to the present, the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, in accordance with Republic Act 11054, still continues to apply MMA Act 25. Now is the time for change. Alhamdulillah, for change is the law of nature. The law that we are about to pass provides the powers and functions to LGUs and their elected appointed officials, which are similar to what is provided under Republic Act 7160, but are improved and written to respond properly and appropriately to the realities in the barn. Mr. Speaker, ang ating ipapasa ngayon na batas ay magbigay ng sapat na kapangyarihan sa mga LGUs at mga nanunungkulan nito na matugunan ng mas mahusay ang pangangailangan ng sambayanang Moro sa kanilang mga pook. Mr. Speaker, the doors to deliver basic services and development for the Bangsamoro grassroots are open and have multiplied and downloaded from a singular autonomous regional government down to the provincial governments, the provinces of Tawi-Tawi, Sulu, Basilan, Lanao del Sur, Maguindanao del Norte, Maguindanao del Sur, and soon the 7th province of the SGA, the 3 cities of Marawi, Lamitan, and Cotabato, and last but not the least, the 117 municipal governments that are the frontliners, which are the 2,590 barangays. And so, Alhamdulillah, I respectfully vote yes.
Yang Ramon Senior.
May 1 minute, please.
You have your 1 minute, Your Honor.
Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Yuklungonon, pagbati mula sa ating mga kapatid na IT.
Can you increase your volume?
Okay, how copy now?
Yeah, you may proceed.
Okay. Esteemed Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, Parliament Speaker Pangalian Balindong, colleagues in Parliament. At the outset, I wish to thank the chairperson and the members of the Committee on Local Governance for the time and effort they have invested on this local government code that is cognizant not only of our Moro constituencies, but also of our indigenous communities and settler communities within the Bangsamoro. To the government of the day, thank you for this code that spells inclusivity. Indeed, this is another milestone in the Bangsamoro Parliament. My dear colleagues, in the name of our indigenous people, my vote is yes.
Ramos Diamila.
A'udhu billahi minasyaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My courtesies to our beloved Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim, to our good speaker, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, sa lahat po ng mga opisyales at membro ng ating Bangsamoro Parliament, sa bumubuo ng Committee on Local Governance, sa local government na pinamumunuan ng ating butihing Deputy Floor Leader Attorney Raisa Jajuri, at sa mga membro nito, ang ating mga membro ng Committee Secretariat, at sa lahat po ng mga sumusubaybay sa atin ng ating mamamayang Bangsamoro, isang magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mr. Speaker, I stand with you today not just as a fellow legislator, but also as an advocate for effective and transformative governance. Ang pagiging bahagi po natin sa makasaysayang yugto na ito ng BTA Parliament Bill number 30 o ang Bangsamoro Local Governance Code ay isang sagradong tungkulin na siguraduhin na ang bunga ng kapayapaan ay magiging kapaki-pakinabang at magdudulot ng makabuluhang pagbabago sa ating lahat, partikular na sa ating mga lokalidad at mga grassroots communities. Matapos ang masusing konsultasyon at deliberasyon, ito na po ang oras para kilalanin ang mga progresibong pagbabago bilang epekto ng pagpapasa ng bill na ito. Ako po ay naniniwala na ang Bangsamoro Local Governance Code ay magiging instrumento sa pagpapalakas, pagpapaunlad, pagpapatibay at pagsasaayos ng ating lokal na pamahalaan mula sa barangay level hanggang sa municipal, city at provincial levels. Mr. Speaker, I wish to express my gratitude to the Chair, Vice Chairs, and members of the Committee on Local Government for their hard work and dedication. Nais ko din pong purihin ang ating mga kasamahan sa parlamento na nagbigay ng mga panukala at inputs upang balansehin ang mga probisyon ng Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa open at inclusive deliberations at sa collective wisdom ng Parliament in considering our proposed amendments and contribution in the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Muli ko pong babanggitin ang nakita po naming reflected sa committee report mula sa aming isinumuting 57-page position paper. Una po ay ang pagsama sa Section 39 ng Women at Youth sa mga peoples and non-governmental organizations na tutulungan ng mga lokal na pamahalaan na isulong ang kanilang pagkakatatag at operasyon upang maging active partners sa pagkamit ng local autonomy. Ito ay malakas sa pagpapahayag ng ating strong commitment sa gender equity and inclusivity. Pangalawa ay ang pagtatatag ng local councils for the protection of children, for the elderly, and for PWD sa Section 130. Layunin natin ng mga councils na ito ay maging avenues para sa mas aktibong partisipasyon ng mga nasabing sektor. At alhamdulillah, malaki din po ang aking pasasalamat sa pag-aproba na rin sa pagtatatag ng Local Women Development Council na siya pagiging plataforma ng mga kababaihan sa kanilang meaningful participation and contribution sa local governance and development. Pangatlo ay ang pag-include ng traditional leaders sa lupon tagapamayapa ng ating mga barangay sa Section 425. Ito po ay pagkilala sa kahalagahan ng ating kultura at tradisyon, lalo na sa pagpapanatili ng kapayapaan at kaayusan sa ating mga komunidad. Pang-apat ay ang mahigit sa 10 mahalagang probisyon para sa ating mga sangguniang kabataan. Inaasahan po natin na ang mga ito ay magiging instrumento
para sa mas masinop at maayos na pamamahala ng ating mga youth communities and organizations. At panghuli ay ang mandatory appointment ng Cooperative Development Officer na ngayon ay Cooperative and Social Enterprise Development Officer na ayon na rin sa ating regional policy para sa pagpapalakas ng mga community enterprises na ito. Gayun din po ang optional appointment sa local women development officers sa ating mga municipal, city at provincial LGUs sa sections 480, 496 at 512. Kabilang rin ang pagsama sa optional appointment ng municipal architect sa section 480. Inaasahan po natin na ang mga ito ay magpapahusay sa operations ng ating mga lokal na pamahalaan. Ang mga ito po ay sumasalamin sa ating pagnanais na magkaroon ng inklusibong lokal na pamahalaan saan mang lupalop ng Bangsamoro Autonomous Region at mabigyan ng kaukulang pansin at programa ang mga disadvantaged and vulnerable sectors sa ating lipunan. Layunin po natin na mabigyan sila ng dedicated at komprehensibong plataforma na magpapalakas ng kanilang boses, magpapalawak ng kanilang partisipasyon at magbibigay ng kanilang aktibong papel sa pabayanan at sa iba't ibang governance structures ng mga constituent units ng ating rehiyong Bangsamoro. Sa pagkakataong po ito, ay nais ko pong bigyang diin ng ating pagsusulong ng mga makabago at progresibong polisiya. Marami po tayong hamon na kakaharapin sa pagpapatupad nitong ating ipinapasang Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Marami sa mga ito ay bago at nangangailangan ng masusing pag-unawa, ngunit tayo ay naniniwala na sa ating sama-samang pagsusubikap, magtatagumpay tayo sa pagkaharap sa mga ito, inshallah. Kaya naman, Mr. Speaker, ang aking boto ay isa pong malakas na yes, inshallah, sa pamamagitan nitong Bangsamoro Local Governance Code at sa ating pagkakaisa, mas mapapabuti natin ang kalagayan at kinabukasan ng ating mga minamahal na Bangsamoro. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Salindab Said.
My vote is yes.
Salik Ali.
My vote is yes.
Sangki Ali. Sema Romeo.
You have your 1 minute. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My courtesies to our esteemed Chief Minister, Honorable Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, our Speaker of the Parliament, Attorney Ali Pangalayang Balindong, my colleague, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the time to express my manifestation. First of all, I join my fellow Parliament members in commending the drafters and the members of the committee who have thoroughly studied the provisions of the Bangsamoro Local Government Governance Code. The same appreciation also goes to the LGUs, organizations, fellow members of the Parliament who have submitted their position papers and amendments to further improve the code. Most especially, we greatly commend the Honorable Speaker of the Parliament, Attorney Ali Pangalayan M. Balindong, for putting importance and great attention to this piece of legislation. Mr. Speaker, all these efforts put together bring forth another milestone for this Parliament. The journey to get this point was scrutinizing, but we saw that the whole process of drafting this bill also brought out a more dynamic relationship in the Parliament. We have engaged more participation and we have invited different views to the floor. Nonetheless, this Parliament has finally merged into a single viewpoint, which is to reform our region by facilitating an efficient local governance in our LGUs. I hope I have full confidence in this code as it was studied carefully by this Parliament. And there may be challenges in the future, but inshallah, we'll find its resolution. Hence, I only pray that as we pass the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code, may the Almighty Allah make it good for us. Ladies and gentlemen, my vote is outstanding yes. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Yes. Sheikh Said. Silongan Aida. Sinulinding Kadel Jr.
Mr. Speaker, may I have my 1 minute?
You have your 1 minute.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, Speaker Attorney Pangalian Balindong and his deputies, floor leader and her deputies, honorable members of the Parliament, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Acknowledging the enormous time, effort, and dedication by the members of the committee and the Parliament, including the support staff, this measure, I believe, may have flaws, hence imperfect, but it is the best we can have in these challenging times. Regardless of our opposing views and judgment, we come to finally agree and move on with utmost consideration of the nutritional, health, and population status of the Bangsamoro. May this measure catalyze the transformation of statistical figures favoring a picture of vibrant, thriving, and healthy individuals and families. With strong conviction in my heart, para sa malusog at matatag na Bangsamoro, my vote is a very healthy yes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all. Maraming salamat po. My vote is yes.
Sulaiman Ali. Tago Paisalin.
Mahaba. Mahaba.
Mahaba ba ito isang laptop pang
Isang laptop.
1 gigabyte. Anyway, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Or my deepest courtesies to our Chief Minister, Awwal Balawag Ibrahim Sir, to our Speaker, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, who shepherded the passage of this code, the members of the Parliament, leaders of the Bangsamoro people, the Mujahideen and the Mujahidat, brothers and sisters in Islam, ladies and gentlemen, isang mapayapang at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. With the indulgence of the Chief Minister and the Speaker, mahaba-haba po itong explanatory vote ko. You know, when the deliberation in the plenary of this code, I am 100% present, but I did not interpolate because I reserve my energy in this explanatory vote. I will use the 1 hour in this explanatory vote. I did not use it during the plenary deliberation, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I did not interpolate because I believe and in my conviction that the code or the bill was beautifully, intelligently, diligently, and carefully drafted by the 4 leading lawyers of the members of our Parliament, headed by our floor leader, Laia Dumama Alba, the chair of the committee, Minister Raisa Jajuri, and the deputy floor leaders, Miriam Arnaldo and Anna Tarhata Basman. And of course, to their staff and the Secretariat. Palakpakan po natin sila, Mr. Speaker. Nabuhay po kayo. Alhamdulillah, we are here now to decide on the most crucial part of the Bangsamoro history. The house that we are trying to build for more than half a century is at least 80% complete. Bear in mind, Mr. Speaker, that the construction materials that we use in establishing this house, Mr. Speaker, the capital is not the wood, the cement, the steel, the gravel and the sand, but the sweat, blood, tears, and sufferings of the Bangsamoro people. As stated earlier, Mr. Speaker, it is 80% complete because when we approve the administrative code, the foundation, structure, ceilings, roofs, walls, rooms, and others were put up to build that house. Necessarily, Mr. Speaker, kailangan may tao sa bahay na yan. At nilagay natin sa bahay na yan ang mga kwalipikadong makabayan, makamasa at ang puso ay sa hula, bangsa at agama. Kaya po, Mr. Speaker, ay na-approve po natin ang Bangsamoro Civil Service Code and the Bangsamoro Education Code, Mr. Speaker. Sapagkat may tao na sa bahay na yan na itinayo natin, it needs a number. Kailangan po may panuntunan sa elect natin sa amer sa bahay na yan. Kailangan may amer. Kaya po, Mr. Speaker, we approve the Bangsamoro Electoral Code, Mr. Speaker. However, in selecting the amer or electing an amer in the house that we establish, again, dapat din may taritig diyan kung paano i-elect ang amer. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we are here now to approve the Bangsamoro Local Government Code kasi yan ang magiging taritive in electing our amer in the Bangsamoro government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sinabi ko kanina, 80% complete ang bahay na yan dahil may natitira pang 20%. The 20%, Mr. Speaker, and the 10% repairs. Kailangan na tayo natin ang bahay na yan. Kailangan, Mr. Speaker, may pondo ang bahay na yan in order to sustain and maintain the structure of that house. And we need to pass the Bangsamoro Revenue Code, Mr. Speaker. That is the other 10%. The other 10%, Mr. Speaker, is in order that we must be inclusive in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Area, Mr. Speaker, kailangan sa bahay na yan, yung lahat ng kasama natin, maging IPs, settler communities, and others, non-Moro indigenous peoples, dapat isama natin sa bahay natin in order that we are inclusive. And we have to approve, Mr. Speaker, the indigenous people's code. 100% na kompleto yan, Mr. Speaker. But before, Mr. Speaker, I will deal on the board. I will deal first on the legal issues, Mr. Speaker, that was raised during the deliberation, and it was raised by my colleagues on the name of local governance. The name local governance, Mr. Speaker, is not restrictive. As a matter of fact, we can use other language or nomenclature that connotes local governance. The 1987 Constitutions and Republic Act 7160 used word local government only to distinguish it from national and regional government. And now, in fact, in our previous administrative code, we use the word municipal corporation. On the exercise of the powers of the LGUs in the autonomous region, the autonomous government, as specified in Republic Act 7160, can exercise such power through a law. no less than Republic Act 7160 of the Local Government Code of 1991, granted such right, in which I quote Section 526, Title 3 transitory provisions, applicability of this code to LGUs in the autonomous region. This code shall apply to all LGUs in the autonomous region until such time. The word, Mr. Speaker, until such time the regional government concerned shall have enacted in those local government code. Meaning, Mr. Speaker, there is no restriction. There is no prohibition to enact whatever in our local government code. This is why MME Act number 25 was enacted during the arm. The only restrictions in the ball, Mr. Speaker, is that the privilege of LGU as provided by law shall not be diminished. Mr. Speaker, we are not diminishing the privileges granted to our LGUs, but as a matter of fact, in this code, Mr. Speaker, we are renouncing the privileges provided for our law to our LGUs. And number 2, Mr. Speaker, on anti-dynasty, Article 2, Section 26 of the 1987 Constitution provide in its declaration of principle. It is a declaration of principles of the state. The state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities to public service and prohibit political dynasties as provided by law. There is no law that prohibits this parliament to enact anti-dynasty provision. As a matter of fact, the state, including us, the autonomous region, as part of the state, Mr. Speaker, does not prohibit it to enact anti-dynasty provision. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the state, the incorporation of an anti-dynasty provision in this code is history. Mr. Speaker, I want to be part of this story, and so with my colleagues in this chamber. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I will now pronounce my vote. I vote yes on BTA Bill number 30, based on 5 core reasons. Number 1, the principle of self-governance was categorically stated through our respective LGUs. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the principle of moral governance was emphasized through the process of accountability and transparency. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, I vote yes because the devolution of basic services to our local governments were made clearer. Number 4, Mr. Speaker, it emphasized the jurisdiction, the power, and the function of the special geographic area. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, in the story of politics in our nation, na incorporate in this bill the anti-dynasty provision. The provision that has not been done in the National Congress for so many years, but the members of the Parliament courageously and bravely approves the measure today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, isa po ako nagagalak na maging kasama dito sa dito sa Parlamento na ito na umapob dito sa anti-dynasty provision dahil paman ako po ay belong to a political family. And my wife belongs to a political family in Lanao del Sur. But still, Mr. Speaker, I approve strongly for this anti-dynasty provision in order there's a level playing field for our people in this Bangsamoro area, Mr. Speaker. Pagpalain sana tayo dito, pagpalain ng Bangsamoro, wabilay, tawfiq walidaya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My vote is very strong, yes, Mr. Speaker.
Nabil.
Explain my vote, Mr. Presiding Officer, Mr. Speaker.
You have your 1 minute, the gentleman from Sulu. You look good.
I always look good, like the King of Brunei.
Can you strengthen? Can you increase your volume, the volume of yourself, your audio?
volume.
Wala si Sultan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Let me premise my statement by way of saying that those who does not conform to the yes are obstacles to change. We take exception to that. As lawyers, we were trained to uphold the Constitution and respect the law. I lament the fact that in Title 1, we use the word governance. The governance word refers to the process, Your Honor. And it is more confusing because it's not being used under the BOL. Article 16, Section 4, Paragraph A speaks of local government code, and in the Republic Act 7160 speaks of local government code. It is confusing and not in accord with the Bangsamoro Organic Law. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, on the elective officers, Title 2, Section 6, Qualifications and Elections, on Section 40, Paragraph G, it speaks of the anti-dynasty provision. Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution in the deliberation of the anti-dynasty law speaks of the passage of an anti-dynasty provision by the state that will be defined in a law. And it was introduced by Commissioner Sarmiento in the 87 Constitution deliberation, and as related by Dean Bernas, it is mandated by the state to put a provision to define the law on anti-dynasty. The diminution of the electorate's power to choose is not without validity. That is why the Constitution said that it should be defined by law, and the definition by law can only come from Congress, because we cannot later on come out with Congress law defining political dynasty, and yet we already have our own definition. It should be uniform. So with that, plus the power of the president to appoint permanent vacancies in the local government units cannot be deprived by our law, because it is a power of executive privilege, which cannot, even without mentioning in the law, it cannot be deprived of the president. With that, I do not wish to prolong my speech. I appreciate the hard work and determination of the powerful ladies of the committee and the floor leader. Floor leader Laiha and committee chair Raisa and Mary Ann and Anna for their hard work and persevering spirit that they poured into this. However, based on principle, I cannot just close my eyes and violate the Constitution. I therefore vote no. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Ombudsman Ajpar. Otto Basir.
Ayos. Ayan na. Itsan, dito kasi kanila. Ayusin mo yung misa.
Auzubillahiminasyaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My courtesy and respect, Honorable Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, Chief Minister, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, Speaker. Una, naniniwala ako, the reason why na-appoint ako ni His Excellency President
Bongbong Marcos Jr. ay upang magampanan ko yung mga mandato. Mandato una ay pagpasa ng batas, lalong-lalo na pag pinag-uusapan ay kapag-kipakinabang sa Bangsamoro Region. Ako ay nagpapasalamat sa aking mga kasamahan, ang aming committee chair, dahil kasabi po ako ng member ng committee ito, Atty. Raisa Jury, Ana Basman Tarhata, at sa lahat ng parlamento na kasama ko. Magsuportahan tayo, lalong-lalo na pag pinag-uusapan ay ang pundasyon ng Bangsamoro. Andito tayo ngayon, again, in-appoint tayo ng ating His Excellency para magampanan yung mga mandato natin na magaganda. My vote is 100% yes, Mr. Speaker.
Oyo Chief Ani.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My sincerest courtesy to our beloved Chief Minister, my fellow members of the Parliament, and sa lahat po ng nandito ngayon. I had my own share of reservations in this bill because of the seemingly contentious provisions na nakita ko po bilang abogada at ng mga iba kong kapwa lawyers na members of the Parliament. And this was the very reason why I supported some of the proposed amendments ng mga kapwa ko members of the Parliament relative to my reservations and voted for it. Some of those proposed amendments was accepted. Meron din pong hindi, but what is important for me was that I was able to exercise my right as a member of the Parliament. And this bill went through the legislative process. After all, and at the end of the day, it will be the Supreme Court who has the power to declare kung ano po ang unconstitutional provision or provisions dito po sa ating ipapasa na batas. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my warmest congratulations sa ating very powerful women in the Parliament, Ma'am Attorney Hajuri, Ma'am Ana Basman, Ma'am Arnado, and Ma'am Laiha for your untiring and grabbing dedication. I saw myself how you worked for this bill. Therefore, my vote, Mr. Speaker, is yes. Alhamdulillah for this milestone.
Jacob Muhammad.
Mr. Speaker, my vote is sound yes.
Ampatuan Baintan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Hindi ko po patatagalin ang aking boto. Ang aking boto po ay yes, but with reservations doon po sa lahat ng provisions na binutuhan ko po, na pinag-divide po ng House. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Secretary General, do you have a return on the vote?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa bihi nasta'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Speaker, the result of the nominal voting on the third and final reading of Bill number 30 entitled An Act Providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code as follows. We have 57 yes votes, 4 no votes, and 0 abstention. The yes vote, Mr. Speaker, have it.
With 57 yes votes, 4 no votes, and 0 abstentions, BTA Bill number 30, an act providing for the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code, is approved on third and final reading. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. We will proceed with the signing.
Congratulations.
Lord Leader, are there any other matters?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we will now move to item number 13 in the order of business, other matters. May we recognize our Parliament Speaker to deliver his message. May we also request our Chief Minister to join him in the
1 minute suspension.
The chair would like to make a brief statement. Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, the officers and members of the Bangsamoro Parliament, fellow workers in the Bangsamoro government, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today marks a memorable milestone for the Bangsamoro region in celebration of the passage of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. A day that shall be forever etched in the collective memory of the Bangsamoro region. Before I proceed, let me inform the Honorable Minister Paisalin Tagu that I am also under siege. Not for any reason, nor any particular group, but I am under siege by my family. The only reason is because of the political dynasty that we have provided. in the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. Because our family, I do not deny it, is also a dynastic family. What is this code all about? This code is more than just a set of rules. It is a manifestation of our commitment to the Bangsamoro people and their march towards a brighter future. It sets the foundation of a governance framework anchored in our distinct identity, our rich culture, and our ambitious aspirations. With the enactment of this code, we are empowering local government units across the Bangsamoro to take charge of their destiny. It grants them the authority and the resources they need to address the distinctive challenges and seize the opportunities that define our region. It grants them the autonomy and self-determination that are essential for genuine progress. This law establishes the foundation for self-reliance and enables them to become equal partners in the realization of total Bangsamoro development. It is a legal instrument that allows our local leaders to make the decisions that directly affect the lives of our constituents. I would like to recognize the commitment and effort of our legislators, especially the Committee on Local Government, led by the indefatigable, incomparable Attorney Faisal Jajuri, and the other members of the committee who have tirelessly crafted and debated this legislation. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the countless stakeholders, civil society organizations, and communities who have been instrumental in shaping this code. Your input and support have been invaluable, and it is your voices resonating with wisdom and insight that have greatly enriched this document. As we move forward, let us remember that the passage of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code is a promise fulfilled, a promise to the Bangsamoro people for a better future. It is a declaration that we believe in the strength and resilience of our people, and we are committed to providing them with the tools they need to thrive. Mabuhay ang Bangsamoro. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. At this juncture, may I request the Honorable Chief Minister Ahud Balawag Ibrahim to deliver his message to the Bangsamoro Parliament and to the Bangsamoro people.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Lillahi wa bihi nasta'in. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad. Speaker of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, Parliament, Attorney Pangalian Balindong, honorable colleagues in the BTA Parliament, my fellow Bangsamoro, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is with great privilege and a sense of collective accomplishment that the Bangsamoro Transition Authority Parliament has approved on its third and final reading the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code. This Bangsamoro Local Governance Code stands as a historic milestone in our shared endeavor to achieve social justice and our pursuit for genuine and meaningful autonomy for the people of the Bangsamoro region. This comprehensive legal framework stands as a resounding testament to the resolute dedication of the BTA Parliament, the government of the day, and all the stakeholders who have played a pivotal role in shaping the future of an empowered, united, and progressive Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. In particular, this code advocates for transparency, responsiveness, and accountability within local government bureaucracies. It represents our commitment to gradually and systematically empowering communities by entrusting them with increased power, responsibility, resources, and authority within the territorial jurisdiction of the Bangsamoro government. Certainly, this code will not only redefine but also solidify the autonomous region's governance landscape by forging a well-defined and harmonious path between the regional government and the local government units. I thank and congratulate the STEM members of the BTA, especially the Committee on Local Governance, parliamentary on this noble accomplishment. This remarkable milestone would not have been possible without the dedication, partnership, and unity demonstrated by both you and the Bangsamoro people. Indeed, rigorous public consultation, committee hearings, and debates have yielded this profoundly positive and impactful outcome. The passage of the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code embodies the sincere commitment of the MILF and the MNLF to uphold and sustain the dividends of the peace process. It signifies the beginning of a brighter and more prosperous era for our region and its people, one in which the full potential of local governance is poised to be fully realized, promising brighter and more prosperous future for all. After passing the local governance code, we have successfully already passed the 5 codes that are that we are obliged to pass in the parliament. The only remaining is the revenue code, which we will soon, inshallah, also pass in this thing. As we embark in putting these codes and into action, I call upon every stakeholders to ensure that this code will come into effect after its publication. Guided by our shared love of our homeland and moral governance, let us continue to work together in the spirit of cooperation, understanding, and shared pursuit. We all know that we have struggled for more than 40 years in order to achieve these changes we went to advocate. So we are now in this government where our instrument for change is already in our hand. So the road ahead may pose formidable challenges, but with the Bangsamoro Local Governance Code as our framework, we are well equipped to overcome them today, tomorrow, and beyond, inshallah. Shukran wa billahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we will now proceed with the ceremonial signing of the approved Parliament Bill number 30. Mr. Speaker, may we request the Chair of the Committee on Local Government, Deputy Floor Leader Attorney Raisa Jojuri, to join the signing.
As a matter of fact,
And
we are
also
inviting-
Deputy Floor Leader Ana Basman.
we are inviting the chairperson and members of the Committee on Local Government and the other members to witness the ceremonial signing.
Session suspended.
Session is suspended for 1 minute. We are inviting all the members to join us for the photo ops.
Yung naka-picture sila, naka-tayo sila sila. Dato. Mga lang din.
Other members to join us for the photo ops. The other members of parliament. Have a photo with the chief minister.
Allah Akbar.
Naka-on yung ano ha. Naririnig kayo, Omar. Salita dyan. Naka-on ang mic. Naka-on po ang microphone.
The session is adjourned. Oh, umakyat kayo dito to join us in the photo.
Tama nyo na yung ano, nasa Zoom. Tama na yung nasa Zoom.
Paano?
Adjourn na tayo?
Paano tayo makasama?
Adjourn na.